Hey, everybody, welcome to. Thought I heard myself say hey. To True Tuesday, the second half. The first half was over on Lisa's channel and went really quick.
It seemed like it went quick.
We were talking about a lot of stuff in Oklahoma. And we're going to switch over to Florida now, probably. Talk about what's going on there, which we had a lot of viewers in Florida. Oklahoma's a little bit closer to my home, but
you have a lot in common with Texas. Has a lot in common with Florida. It seems like when one thing happens in either Florida or Texas, they kind of will mimic.
Yeah.
I wonder what Florida's history is with joining. If they have some of the similarities, you know how like Texas has that where they didn't fully join.
No, Florida was 100% because it was the East Coast that went down. The part when they went across, which we talked about earlier. The weird stuff about Florida I didn't know about Disney.
Yeah. So share that with everybody because we were talking about how Governor DeSantis just signed in gold and silver as legal tender, and there's this really cool interview or presentation where he's talking about it, and then this other guy gets up and he like mentions God and talking about like usury and God doesn't like a debt-based system and how usury is bad, which you were talking about usury just the other day, and maybe it was on WBRT or something. I don't know. It was when we were talking about the stable coins.
Mm-hmm. Are you frozen? No, you froze up.
Yeah, apparently they don't like that word. And so that's one of the other things that gets rid of.
Yeah. The stablecoin show was pretty good. You should check us out on World Blockchain Roundtable. It's on Thursdays. Lisa streams it. I stream it sometimes because it's early. So I usually just get here right when it starts, or I'm like a minute late.
While we're doing the intro, Sean jumps in.
Yeah. Sean's here. But so this is back when DeSantis was taking away a lot of Disney's special tax breaks, where they don't pay taxes on like anything, and they kind of operated as their own country. Like that's why a lot of crimes were only investigated by like the Disney security. They didn't get reported and stuff. Just weird stuff. They didn't make a lot of sense. So and a lot of people were really pissed when DeSantis took away their autonomy.
Their status. They had like a special status.
It was when you said it was almost like they were their own country.
That's what I had heard. I had heard that they had a status like they were their own country.
And I found out who owns the land that all of Disney is on, and it's the Crown, which is really, really weird. Then if you want to go to like when so one of the reasons why, I guess you could say this is a conspiracy, but I mean it's just facts. But it's weird facts. One of the reasons why the British government surrendered and we won is because for financial reasons. Because when they surrendered, one of the things they put in there is that we could still have and always have a economic partnership with Britain in the United States. And one of the reasons for that is that Britain had come in and made these treaties with all the Indian nations that were ironclad treaties and agreements that they couldn't break, which there's all this wealth in the United States. But when there is no more colonies and there's no more Britain here, all of those agreements are gone. So the only way that they could get around it is to give up the claim, but then still have an economic connection, and then they just buy the land.
Hold on, you want me to share this?
This is something. This is what I heard. I heard that
Okay.
there's like a lot of people going after DeSantis. He's kind of fallen from grace. This is WWE. So this is, like serious beer drinking, red blooded Americans. And he
It
got
won't let
booed.
me chat right now, so I was trying to chat back with our friends in the comments, but it won't let me for some reason.
I see it. Everyone. Hi, guys.
No, then I said, see you tonight on X at Taco Tuesday, and it says
Okay.
this failed to comment.
Yeah, it's feeling. I didn't see that one. You can play the video. He's booed. They're like, you.
Oh,
Suck.
is there a video?
They're like, you suck. You suck.
That's not nice.
It's pretty.
I'll be so excited if I'm
Why?
I was like, why? I thought everyone in Florida liked him, because
I thought they did too.
he's like, I don't care about other whatever. I'm just, going to make sure Florida's cool.
I would think people at WWE would like him because I
That's
would
what I'm
think
saying.
most
It's
of
like
them are
that, especially that group.
red-blooded American kind of people.
But so I thought there was something weird. I wanted to find out, and then as soon as I come on, you start talking about how he signed it. He's fucking with the money. So that makes sense. Oh yeah, we didn't even mention that. Did you see Macron get smacked?
Yes.
Oh, his face. He was so embarrassed, dude.
Yeah.
He was like, he would have been less embarrassed if he would have been standing there with his penis hanging out of his pants. He was
His man.
He was so bad. Yeah.
Smacked him in the face.
Those giant man hands.
I think I have that video too. Let me find it first so they don't get nauseous while I scroll. Here it is. Shows. Can you see?
Hold on. Let me.
Are you seeing?
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Okay. There's a slap. And then he goes, hello.
Oh, yeah.
Whoops. And they tried to say it was being playful. I mean, that was pretty good shove in the face. I don't think that was
a hard shove. Yeah.
Playful. Like if my spouse shoved me like that, I would.
Especially her. Geez, she's.
Yeah, she's as big as him.
Look at them shoulders, man.
Yeah. Her arms are as long as her. Way longer than her torso. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sad world we live in.
Yeah, it was not playful. I would not like to be played with like that.
No.
Especially with like it's definitely not girly, I tell you that.
No. I've seen bathing suit pictures of it, and there's something going on down there. Similar to Michelle. Big Mike and her should obviously shop at the same bathing suit.
At Target, buying the suits.
At Target, buying suits at Target in the children's area.
Yeah. So what else?
You were saying Disney has.
Oh yeah, that the land is owned by the crown.
So has DeSantis been? But he was removing those protections back quite a few years ago.
Yeah, it was like 2-3 years ago, or more. Yeah, it was about 3 years ago. But he got a lot of not just pushback, but they were walking back some of the stuff that he did, and it was very confusing. And now it's because of, I think it was because of intervention by the British government. And I think they said, oh, it's international company, blah blah blah, but the land's owned by the crown, so it's very, very interesting. So they could say that these agreements were made between. They're more political, they're more like a treaty than they are a like a tax incentive or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just very odd. I hadn't had a chance to really look into it, but we start talking about DeSantis. I think if DeSantis is messing with the money, he's going to get a lot of pushback from the powers that be.
It'll be interesting to see what happens because, in Arkansas, they made a law that no foreign entities can own land
In Arkansas,
in
yeah.
Arkansas. And then in Missouri, the Missouri AG was using not only that, but they sued China and won this like multi-billion-dollar lawsuit against China. And then they were like, "Oh, what are you gonna do? Make China come to Missouri and pay you?" And he's like, "No, but I'm gonna use that to claw back our land from China, and I'm gonna go get a judgment, and I'm gonna take back our land from China that they own here in Missouri." And that's what they started doing, was using that as a clawback. And he's like, and I would hope that other states would start doing the same thing. So I wonder if DeSantis could do kind of the same thing if he needed to, file something. Well, they were doing it against like the COVID thing, using the COVID thing as, well, it was China's fault because of the lab leak. And so we had these damages in our state. And so we're going to now take this property back. If there was a way to prove that Britain harmed Florida,
Yeah.
they could.
This would be the time to try and do that.
You could prove it through taxation.
Most people are to me, that I know, are shocked that Arkansas is the first state to do that. That like foreign countries can just buy up tons of land or whatever. So that's
What's
part of
happening in all kinds of states is just Arkansas is forbidding it.
Yeah, but most people thought it was forbid everywhere. They're like, "What do you mean? They're the first state? They're like, that's against the law, right?" No.
Yeah.
I think the crazier thing is that China is mining on the dark side of the moon, and our government is being completely up. So we don't know what they're doing. We know they're mining helium-3, and that they're getting ahead of us. I saw some China's getting confrontational, I would say. But
yeah, they demanded that we stop when Trump made the announcement about the Golden Dome. China came out, I think, the next day and said that they saw it as a threat or an aggression, and they demanded that we stop.
Like brandishing a weapon, I know.
Like brandishing a weapon, yes. And they demanded that we stop because they saw it as a threat, a military threat in space to them. And I'm like, if it's a defense mechanism.
Yeah, defense, how is it? Yeah.
How is
Well,
it
I saw this dude, he was like, I think he was talking to Australia. Basically, China was talking about Australia like they're at war already. He said, you and the United States, you have less ships than we do. You can't keep up with us. You don't have as many. I mean, they were just talking so much shit, which was to me very, very surprising. But it's odd that they're moving in that direction. But then again, it's not odd. I mean, what does the United States do whenever we're having economic trouble? We go to war.
Yeah.
And so far, China has done everything that the United States has done. That's how they're like in the 60s now, compared to what, you know what I mean? We built up our industrial base. We did all that. We made our country great back in the in the old days, and they've followed basically our blueprint in a lot of ways. And now they're at this point, and now with the sanctions, not sanctions, with the tariffs, they're it's all falling apart. And I don't think it would be smart for them to go to war because they're not the United States. They've been cosplaying it for a while, and it's worked really well. But I don't think that they would be. It would behoove them to not think that they are the United States and go to war. As far as truth stuff goes, I sent a video to you in the chat if you want to pull it up.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just very interesting. And I'd seen these videos a million times, and I never thought about things like this. It was on, I think it was on, this guy was on Rogan, and just watch it. It's about the nuclear testing. Oh, here we go.
Houses lined up in these little trees.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the question, right? So what happened? Okay, so this is great. Okay, you'll love this.
You rewind it.
Camera. Conspiracy theory. You've seen all the grainy footage of nuclear test blasts that you've
Sure.
with the mushroom clouds, and there are always these grainy things, and there's all these like little houses lined up and these little trees lined up, and it blows everything down. Yeah. Okay, so here's the question, right? So what happened? Okay, so this is great. Okay, you'll love this. So what happened to the camera?
You son of a.
How is that happening yet the camera is like totally stable and fine?
Oh my god!
And by the way, and the film is fine. The radiation didn't cause any damage to the film.
Oh my god!
By the way, okay, we'll do this one. We'll do the loop one more time here. Let's see the car.
The car's right behind the house. It just showed up.
Oh,
okay.
it just showed up.
So wait a minute. First
It
of all,
wasn't there.
First of all, where the car
No
comes
car.
from?
No car.
Second, does it really look like
Car.
Does that look like a real car?
That's insane.
Is that a house, or is that like is that a 12-inch scale model?
What?
Right.
That does look fake.
There's also the camera didn't move at all either.
You know what it looks like? It looks like the smoke is too big. Watch when it hits. Like the volume, like the size of it, it looks small.
I mean,
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it looks like we're looking at something that's like a few inches tall.
If you watch like making of Star Wars, any movies before CGI, whenever they do anything like that, it's always with these tiny models.
Yes. Yeah, this looks fake as shit.
Let's get another one. It's like, okay, what the camera's fine.
That's hilarious.
I thought that was really weird.
Oh my gosh.
I never thought of that as a kid, seeing that,
That goes to your point earlier about how that the technology is catching up, and it seems stupid now, but back then. So while this is so funny that you're bringing this up, so while Cannon was here, so we're doing summertime visits, so we get to spend more time in bigger chunks and have less moving around for him, a little less disruptive, all that. So he spent 3 weeks with us, and so we're having like some movie nights, staying up late, and we don't have school or as many responsibilities, all this. And so I was telling him he's like, well, what movies did you watch when the big kids, because there's a 10-year gap between the first set of kiddos and then him and Mia. And I said, oh, like, I don't know, we're going through a bunch of them, and one of them was this one. I said, oh, there's this little boy named Zach on Fern Gully. And so we watched Fern Gully. And to watch it now, like, I remember watching Fern Gully when Zach and Carly were little. And, Robin Williams is the bat, and we start singing the song and all this. And, I'm like, this cartoon is really bad. Like, the quality of the cartoon is like, I mean, I should pull it up. It's really, really bad compared to like, what cartoons now are like. It was shocking because in my mind, I have a memory of what that was like watching that cartoon with my kid 23 years ago, 25 years ago. And it had just come out, and it was fun and bouncing around, and they were going through the forest, and the big scary Hexus and the tractor taking down the jungle and all this. And now I'm like somebody make that with a crayon and some wax paper or something. Like, that is really bad. It's just, and that goes to what you're just talking about, like the
Technology with regular people. Yeah.
technology and all this stuff. Yeah, and now they're saying this quantum stuff is coming out, that quantum's going to be able to like break Bitcoin, and people aren't going to be safe. You know, and so is that why they're kind of saying like put your stuff in metals, like, because like this was the biggest, baddest commercial cartoon in like 2000, and now that's just not that fabulous. You know, I just
92. What was it that kids used to love? Thumbelina.
Thumbelina, yeah.
And Robert loved like sword shit. He loved Conan, but he couldn't watch Conan because it's too much violence, boobs, sex. But it would come on TV, like, regular TV, like the edited version. So I could tape the edited version on TV.
Oh, okay.
And he could watch it. So loved Conan and Willow. And he's like, I'm Mad Mardigan. I'm Conan. And then Nick loves Thumbelina. He's like, I'm the Prince of the Fairies. Come on. And I was like, Nick, don't tell people you're the Prince of the Fairies.
Don't tell people that. No, that's sweet though. Yeah.
He loved the Prince of the Fairies in Thumbelina.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see, like, if all this technology has been there, but it's been suppressed.
I don't know if your feed is gummed up as mine, especially on Facebook. People are posting these like a trail cam video, but it's like, monsters or, alien pig dogs, but it's obviously, it's fake, it's AI, or they're just AI of, some dude in China where he's like walking on and then he falls and his head falls off, or some just goofy shit that they try to say is real. And the comments, everyone's just like, this is such bad AI, blah, blah, blah. But you're commenting, which is getting interaction, which is getting views, which is making the money. So, but yeah, just like the things that a government could hypnotize an entire country with, like people have on their phones, poor people have on their phones, poor people with some like ingenuity and brains and an app in Vietnam could put something together that would rival Fern Gully. It's hard to, and if we can do that, then like, how do you know other stuff? Because I've watched a lot of videos where I think it's real, and then instead of 1917, they say 1997, and it's like, oh, this is AI, and it's like, I had no idea that this, the person reading this or talking was a computer until they say something, silly like that. So yeah, things are getting to a point now where, and quantum computing, we don't understand how much further ahead it is. Like I was watching, this guy was talking about it, asking a question. He said, so if I wanted to save a file on my quantum computer, I couldn't actually save that because once I do, it doesn't exist. And the guy's like, yeah, you understand. And I was like, what?
Well, so there's something about once it becomes quantum entangled, it doesn't want to be seen.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't exist in our reality.
In our reality.
Like, holy crap. That was like when I first started school for cryptocurrency. It was first day of class. Professor, who's the big guy in crypto? What the? Andreas Antonopoulos. He was my professor, and he was talking about private keys and how they work and how it's like this times this powers it. And then someone asked the question, well, why can't you break the key by just doing division from this to this? He goes, oh, division doesn't exist in this reality or what? I was like, what? It's like, I'm so far out of I'm over my head in this now. But yeah, he's like, oh, division doesn't exist. That's why you can't break the key. And that's the thing with like quantum computing. People think it's just like, remember the 286, 386? The computers would come out. They were 86, so 286. And then Best Buy's got the new 386s. And then it was Mission Impossible. Bing Rames is like, oh, you got the new 486s. People think it's just the next iteration, the next chip.
No, it's a whole different. Yeah, it's not just the next. Yeah,
it's so it's hard to comprehend. Back in the 60s, they would conclude the television evening. The national anthem. What do you mean back in the 60s? They don't do that still? On like TV channels that go off? I mean, I don't watch that.
I don't think channels go off anymore.
I have to ask really old people.
We were trying to tell the kids about this at the homeschool co-op. And then literally something happened on a channel, and that the bars with the rainbow kind of blocks and the tone went off, and I recorded it for a minute so that I could show the kids at school.
Yeah.
It was like at 11:30 or 12 or whenever the nightly news would come on, and then they would say the national anthem, and then it would do this color block thing. And that was like, there's no TV until the news comes on in the morning. And the kids were like, huh? I mean, most children nowadays can't fast forward a commercial or skip it. They don't understand that.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, and we had like 4 channels, whatever. But one of them it was the news, the late night shows, and then it had the late movie, whatever it was, And then like 12:30 or 1:30, it was go off the air. It was the poem. It was Orson Welles read the poem and it was the Air Force one. We're talking about flight, and then I reached out my hand and touched the face of God. Then it was a national anthem, and then it was a lot of times that wake me up. Wake you up with the TV on, that that sound. The Indian chief. I was going to ask about the Indian. I thought the Indian chief was not real. That was like maybe something in the South or so, but I did see that like once or twice. Yeah, I don't know how we got on that subject, but yeah, I remember. It's
we're talking about quantum computing.
Quantum computing, yeah. He was white. You sure he was white? Sure he wasn't Mexican? It's like watching old movies, and like all the Indians are just tan white dudes that are old. Or all the Mexicans are all white guys. Elvira, she's still kicking around. I didn't know Pee Wee Herman died. That was a surprise. They put out a documentary on him. We're all old, man. We're all old.
It happens to the best of us.
There's so many things now that are having a phone is like crazy. We didn't have phones. Like that's another thing. We had to like know people's numbers. Most people don't know their own phone number. Because
their spouses.
I don't know my kids. I don't know my kids. I mean, I
don't know my children's phone number.
I kind of know Alex's, because it's close to mine, but I don't know anyone else's. I pay for my dad's phone. I don't know his phone number. Pay for Nick. I don't know his, but he has a different area code, so that's how I know his. But
I think I know both of theirs.
But I know my phone number from when I was 5.
Yeah.
From New Jersey. So, which I hadn't used I only used it for like 2 years. I only had the phone number for like 2 years. And then we moved to Europe. And then we moved to Texas. And I don't remember my European phone number because that's stupid. They have like 97 numbers in that thing. Yeah. What about Newscomb? What's going on with old Newscomb?
I don't know. I don't pay attention over there too much. I kind of think that's.
But Waltz. I think Waltz has done something. I don't know. I know his wife said that she would like smell the burning tires during George Floyd.
Oh, please.
And she like left her windows down in her car so she could smell it as long as she could handle it because it was such a watershed moment or something.
And now the report has come out that he was overdosed.
Yeah.
Oh, they did put the Pfizer and Moderna had to put on their the warning labels on their jabs that cause myocarditis in young men.
That's right. I wanted to bring that up when you were talking about over on your channel, the cosmetology licensing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now people taking responsibility, because when you said maybe people need to take responsibility for going somewhere where people stick needles in you, and I was like, yeah, that's like what's coming out now.
Yeah.
Because people trusted, these agencies blindly, and I'm one of them. I didn't trust them. I just did it because
you were pressured. Yeah.
Yeah, and I even said, like, I don't care if I die. I'd rather die than have to put my family through this. So, and I had heart problems.
I was going to say, now you're having heart problems. Yeah.
I did that one time, but now I take medication. Now my heart's better than I ever have. It's like my heart rate's in the 60s. But the doctor, 2 doctors and 2 nurses both said, yeah, it was the jab. That's why. And I was like, you're just going to say that? Well, I mean, it was. We're seeing a lot of it now. We're seeing a lot of people with this.
No, they said that it killed more than World War II, World War I, and Vietnam combined. Was what the mortician guy got on, and they did a hearing, and they were talking about like some study out of, I don't know if it was Rutgers or somewhere.
But there's still a lot of people who will not.
Well, cognitive dissonance is a real thing.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about that in the first half of the show, and there's 3 different things. People don't want to admit that they're, were wrong or they were stupid or they were duped or whatever. Right. Then there's the us versus them mentality. But there's a third thing. It's a psychological thing where, and I saw it, when I was a financial advisor, because if you went in trying to replace someone's investments or their insurance, you really wouldn't do it. You have this big uphill battle because everybody got it done. You're like, hey man, this is so much better, or we actually got ripped off. Can't tell someone they got ripped off because they get real defensive. I had to learn that as a kid, going into the business, because I'd be like, oh dude, this sucks, because I'm in the know. I know all this, and they're like, this is the worst thing. This guy made so much money. But especially you go in and you're like, hey, this dude was like my friend and I trusted him, and this is so. Then when I would say, hey man, don't believe me, don't believe this person either, don't believe this company, don't believe anything. here I'm just going to give you these facts, and you can just compare the two, and use your own brain. And I'd be like, this one you're putting in $100 a month, and you're going to have $50,000. This one you put in $70 a month, and you're going to have $250,000. Which ones, and this one you don't have access to any money for 10 years. This one you have access in 3 years. These are just the facts. This is, which one's better?
Right.
And sometimes, very rarely, people will be like broken. They would be like, I got ripped off. This was my friend. This is someone I trusted. If I couldn't trust this person, who the fuck are you? Get out of my house. There's, like this person was, my friend. I trusted them. You are probably going to try to kill me. Like they can't accept it. They can't understand it. Like you have to be the worst bad guy. If the good guy, when you finally see that the good guy who you thought was a good guy is the bad guy, then the bad guy must be actually
so much worse.
So if it's kind of like how people are like, wow, Biden was really terrible the whole time. And all these newscasters are putting out books that are like, oh, we found out he was so terrible, but we didn't report it a year and a half ago. Now I wrote a book and pay for this, It doesn't matter that conspiracy theorists were right about these 20 things. You're still not going to believe them about the other 40 things.
It just makes the whole world so scary to them.
Yeah, they must be the bad people are still bad. They're just so much worse because the good people couldn't be trusted either.
I understand what you're saying.
It's a weird thing that I didn't say all the time, but
yeah, because when I try to tell people, no, the good guys are winning, can't you see? And they're like, no, it just means that the whole world is a lie.
Yeah.
And that we're all going to die. And well, we are all going to die. But, to me, it's like, no, the bad stuff's being exposed. That has been going on so long. And there means that there is hope and we can choose something different. And some people are just like, no, this just means like this, it goes on everywhere and it never ends. And I'm like, no.
Or it's like this country is just terrible. And
yes.
And
they'll try to say that America is bad and that all, and I'm like, no, it's what was being done behind our backs. Is being exposed. And that means it's being brought to the light and it's ending.
And that makes my friends very angry because they're like, look what Trump said on Memorial Day and he's so terrible, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, man. And I've gotten to the point now where I'm like, are you going to pick up a gun? Go do something? You're going to, start a rebellion? What are you going to do? And they're like, what? No, I would never do violence. I was like, then why get mad about it? Why put your energy?
I think that's what this whole ostrich, have you seen this ostrich crisis?
No, you sent me the thing about that for the Canada. They're killing the ostriches because the eggs are like supposedly super.
I think that is what the ostrich crisis is these people that are in such deep cognitive dissonance and they just like would rather stick their head in the sand instead of, it's like,
oh, you're not talking about the video you sent me where they're killing the ostriches and there's these scientists coming out saying that ostrich eggs are cure everything.
Yeah, I think it's a calm.
Okay. Well, I started looking for ostrich eggs everywhere.
Oh.
They're hard to get. When I was a kid, I was like, little. I was a baby. And my parents ran a home or halfway house for like mentally retarded people. And they had a field trip to like this, like a zoo, but it was like a drive-through kind of zoo thing.
Yeah, they have those here in Oklahoma.
One of the people got lost, and they couldn't find him. He was riding ostriches, and they found him sleeping in the ostrich nest.
How is that possible? You don't get out of your car.
It was in a bus. I was 2. so I don't remember a lot.
Okay, so you were being told this story. Okay.
No, I remember going there. I remember the dude was lost, but then they told me they found him because he was riding ostriches, and they found him asleep in an ostrich nest with an ostrich and a bunch of eggs. And I thought that was bonkers, even though I was only 2. Yeah.
I think they're telling me stories. Yeah, good one.
The guy was lost. I had to hunt him down. All right. Well, it was good hanging out with y'all. Remember to hit the like button and go over and watch first half if you missed it. I am for I am. Think you were driving. You got anything going on this week?
Do I have anything going on this week? Hopefully we get an offer on the house this week. I'm very excited. Thank you to all sending good, positive vibes and prayers and good thoughts and feelings on that. We'll be on, I don't think I'm going to be able to do WBRT this Thursday because I have to have some appointments Thursday morning and have to run some things around. And then I might be able to jump on early, but I'm not sure. And then I'm just having to switch some things with Skullcap and Johnny around. So there's going to be some changes this week. But and then Westwood's at Litecoin Summit. He's going to try to stream in on Friday for happy hour. We'll see how that goes.
I think Litecoin had a serious shoot up, didn't it? LTC. Let me look.
Earlier today, it was only like 90, high 90s or something. It
Really?
hadn't broke 100. Yeah.
Not yet. No, it hit 97.
Yeah, that's what it's
Not too
been.
long ago. Let me go to the hourly. Jeez. It was up 102 on about 4 days ago. Hit 102.50. But it is, geez, this is some volatile shit.
Wake me when it's 400 again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely in a buy. Actually, I might go put a trade in here in a few minutes.
Well, there you go.
Went down to 95. But they're huge buy sentiment. A lot of news. Yeah.
That makes sense going into the summit. So, you guys, you heard it here from Satoshi Sean.
Yeah. I'm going to be, I've been streaming on Twitch and Kick.
Cool.
Just kind of hanging out, gambling and stuff, playing cards and slots. So you can check me out there. I'm going to do one this morning, probably do one tonight. And yeah, I'll be on WBRT on Thursday. You doing Friday?
Yep, I should be. I should be doing Friday, and we'll see how it goes.
All right. Y'all take care. What am I going to play? I don't have it. I need to clear out so much of this stuff. Oh, there's this one because you love this one.
Yeah.